I was once a bully. I chose Facebook because it is a social media platform that allows you to ask other people personal questions. When I started this, I was just messing around, sending stupid questions. Where's the harm in that, right? However, it quickly escalated. I don't even think I noticed when I turned something so innocent into a weapon. I found myself releasing a lot of my anger. I started hurting others using Facebook because it was so easy. Like, you don't know how easy it is. It was so easy to create a fake account. It was so easy to become someone else. But most importantly, I was hiding behind a screen. I was hiding behind fake identities that I had obviously created so that I could remain anonymous, but no one knew. No one knew it was me. So there was no repercussions, right? Now that I think about it, I was actually low-key catfishing other people as well. Besides hurting and bullying other people, I was catfishing as well. This act of mine became my favorite hobby. Whenever I was bored or maybe something or someone made me angry, I looked for my next victim. Somebody I could, lash out at. Somebody I could express my anger on. And because I didn't have to worry about being found out, I felt unstoppable. I felt really powerful. At that time, seeing my victims embarrassed and degraded felt so satisfying. It was like a drug. Facebook was the drug, but what actually got me high was the pain that I was inflicting. As I started to study, as I got a better understanding, I finally learned and understood that me bullying others actually stemmed from my anger. My anger, which was deep-seated because it had been brewing for years. I had a lot of anger. My parents separated when I was in primary school, and my mother was hardly ever home, always working late, trying to make ends meet, even on the weekends. Because of this, my brother and I were always staying at our neighbors until, my mom would come back from work. And seeing other children having both their parents attending to them while mine was separated, constantly fighting and barely even noticing us, that made me feel neglected. I was angry. They didn't even ask us how we felt. They didn't even ask us what we wanted. It felt like we didn't even matter. My dad moved on, and my mom barely even had enough hours in the day to even have a conversation with me. When I started high school, that didn't even make things better. I wasn't popular. In fact, I was invisible. I was one of those girls that nobody noticed. From then on, I decided I was going to be mean. If no one was going to notice me, why should I even care? So I became very aggressive and hostile. I didn't even have a choosing as to who it was. Even the teachers got to feel my hostility. I was excited when I enrolled in UNISA for my first year, but I kind of also felt alone. I didn't feel that there was a network. Even though I was chatting with other students, it's a huge transition. UNISA, as opposed to high school and primary school, it was a huge transition for me. And even though we were talking on WhatsApp, it still didn't feel still didn't feel like a community. So I joined Facebook. I thought that I could meet other people like me and we could have conversations and I could make friends. I could finally be seen. But something interesting happened. I found that when I started chatting, and I would be chatting anonymously, I got very interesting replies. It felt good that so many people were reading what I was saying. I mean, from being invisible to having so many people laugh and like and notice me, well, my Facebook account. I mean, those thumbs up, those likes are addictive, eh? When I saw that I was being noticed, it felt really good, even though they didn't know who I was. That's when it all started, actually. That's when I began to be unpleasant. That's when I began to hurt people, because people tend to laugh more at you being harsh than they do at you being nice, So I said all these nasty things like, "You're so ugly." Perhaps your mom got shocked. It's not funny, but when I think about it, can't believe that I used to be that person. I used to say those things, but I used to say stuff like that. I used to say stuff like, "You're so ugly, you'd probably come first in a beauty contest with animals. Your mom was probably shocked when she was given you as a baby, probably wondering how she could return you because that's how ugly you are." I started body shaming other girls, telling them about them being overweight, breaking them down bit by bit. I would talk about their bodies and try and find what they were so insecure about, and I would play on that, and I would use that so that I could get my high. Some of the stuff I said still shock me today. It was weird because I told people things that I probably would have never had the guts to ever say to them in person, Wow, I don't know. I don't think, no, I know that I would have never said that to them in person. I just wanted attention. I never dealt with my anger. I never dealt with my deep-seated abandonment issues that I had from my parents' separation. So I wanted attention. Then one day, as I was studying one of my modules, I found out how badly people were being affected by people like me. I started to see the damage that I was causing. I could no longer justify what I was doing. So I stopped. And I sought out healing. I'm on a journey of healing right now. I stopped and I wanted to understand why I was doing what I was doing, so I had to find healing. As a law student, I feel it's my duty to make people aware that there are legal remedies available to them, not just within criminal law, but in civil law as well. I believe it's sad. It's sad that South Africa doesn't have specific legislations about cyberbullying, legislations that specifically deal with cyberbullying. An offense like cyberbullying falls under the definition of harassment. Victims of cyberbullying can, however, rely on remedies offered by both the criminal and civil law. Anyone who believes they are being harassed by another person can apply for a protection order under the Protection from Harassment Act 17 of 2011. Thank you for listening to my story.